What's going on, guys? This is KrazyKev here, and I'm here with CFFC fighter Eric Nolan. Eric, how we doing?
Good, Eric. I'm good. I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no worries. Now, Eric, you're just coming off a big win. Talk to us a little bit about that performance and how you think everything went.
I thought it was a good performance. You know, I thought I showed that I definitely leveled up from the last fight. I showed that, you know, I can sit there and strike for the whole 15 minutes if I want to. I don't have to rely on my wrestling or always bring it to the ground. You know, I had a way tougher opponent than I thought he was. He definitely came in there with a game plan, and he was definitely in shape, so it made for an even better fight.
Yeah, 100%. Now, with you being 5-3 now in your career and that being another big win, what do you think is going to be next?
You know, I used to always just think about, like, what's next, like, right after my fights. I don't know what's next. You know, I'm definitely going to be fighting for CFFC again. I don't know. If they want to give me a title shot, I'll take the title shot. If they want me to fight, just get my record up, I'll get my record up, you know? You know, when I was coming up early in the pros, I was just constantly just wanting to get to that, like, next level. And, you know, now I just got to take it fight by fight, you know, take who they give me and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, 100%. Now, you mentioned your opponent was tougher than you thought. When it was coming up for your fight, who were some of the people in your gym that were helping you train and get ready for your fight?
I had Carl Robertson, who I'm sure, you know, UFC guy. Nick Galante, who was also on the card. Luke Fernandez, who was supposed to be on the card. And my main sparring partner and training partner this whole camp was CJ Lafragola. You know, we train a lot together, and he's great to have around, great to have in the gym too. And I think we're going to be training with him even more these next couple of fight camps.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of CJ, we just interviewed him not too long ago, actually like a couple days ago, and he actually said he was name dropping a bunch of guys in the gym, and I asked him who does he think pushed him the hardest, and he mentioned that you were the guy that pushed him the hardest. How do you think that makes you feel out of all the tough guys that you train with in your gym?
I mean that makes me feel good, you know, because he's definitely one of the guys that pushes me the hardest, you know. Yeah, like I said, it's great to have CJ in the gym. I really like him. He's a great person, and he trains hard. He's a workhorse, you know, and I think his D1 background, you know, being a D1 wrestler and multi-sport athlete, and then me being a Marine and bringing those mindsets together, like, it really makes for great sessions. And, you know, I'm excited to keep working with him.
Yeah, man, 100%. Now, speaking of the Marines, one thing I heard in one of the podcasts you did was, I guess, coming out of the Marines, that you were hammered one night and you messaged one of the promoters and asked him for a fight. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's an actual true story. I was going through a lot of shit, but I just remember going to all these UFC fights at the Buffalo Wild Wings, like, right outside of the base, and telling my friends, I'm like, dude, I could do this shit. Like, I'm telling them, and they're like, yeah. And then, but I was pretty good, like, ground game, you know, and I always, like, trained. So I just got drunk one night with my friends, like we always do on the weekends. There's nothing else to do in the military when you're not deployed. And I DM'd Cowboy Fight Series. And I was like, yo, I'll fight anybody, just give me somebody. And they actually got back to me, and they gave me the kid I fought at 185. I didn't cut a single pound. You know,
That's incredible.
Do a real, like, sparring round. I just went in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really, really crazy. So I guess just after you sent that message, and I guess, like, you know, next day, you know, you're sober and everything, looking at those messages, what was kind of going through your mind afterwards?
I was like, fuck yeah, I got to fight.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Now, speaking of that podcast, I believe it was the Redcast. That was a really, really fun podcast. I really, really enjoyed that one. You also mentioned some cool ideas you had. You had a bar you were talking about. Talk to us a little bit about that bar.
Oh, yeah. Either when I hit the lottery or become super rich from fighting,
yeah,
I want to open up like a bar / club, and then have a gym underground, like under it, where all the fighters could train, showers, locker rooms, stuff like that. And then they could just walk upstairs, clock in, and, get to work, like, do security or, like, cook or, could make some little side money so they could train. I always visualize like a compound type thing, like, having like a great system where fighters could train, not have to worry about making money on like jobs they don't want to do, and then bringing in like good coaches and good kids that want to fight.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that would definitely be a pretty cool idea. Now talking about that a little bit, how hard is it to find fights when you're trying to come up on the pro scene?
I think when you're fighting for CFFC, it's not as hard, You're just in for a tough fight. Like, if you fight for CFFC and you're up and coming in pros, like, you're going to get tough fights, That's what they pride themselves on, and honestly, I wouldn't want to do it any other way, Yeah,
100%. Now, you were also on the same card as Kevin Pease, and you said maybe the title shot could be next. Is that a guy you could be maybe eyeing up in the future?
I don't know. I don't really know about that one. It depends. It depends what he's doing. It also depends when I'm going to be back. So I like Kevin Pease. He's a good fighter. That'd be a very interesting matchup. I haven't really thought about that, but I'm not the one to say no to a fight. So if that's what it is, that's what it is.
100%. I love it. Now, going back to the Marines, how do you think the Marine mindset has made you a better fighter?
It's something I don't know. I always just reach into the past when it comes to, getting ready for fights in my mindset. Like, I just remember all those, like, hard ass days I had in the Marines, and I'm just like, I've been through the hardest shit already. Like, this is just a fight. This is just a one-on-one. Like, I'm not getting physically and mentally abused anymore in the Marine Corps, which, it's part of being a Marine, like, and it's very necessary. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is like, I have the mental edge. Like, I'm gonna be willing to do more in my fights than a lot of these kids, and I think I kind of proved that a little bit last week.
Yeah, 100%.
I broke my hand in the first round, and I had to hide that the whole fight, and every single time I kept landing with it, it just like started to sting. And then even when I was blocking stuff, I was like, damn, like, kind of hurts. So I had to use my footwork a little more to get in and out, and then start coming in with elbows. Like, I started coming in with my rear elbow instead of just a straight punch. So I adapted on the fly and hit that injury for 3 whole rounds, and still scrapped it out and made it as interesting of a fight as I could.
Yeah, 100%. Now, when it comes to like fighting, I talked to another bare knuckle fighter. Like, obviously, when they don't have the gloves on, they have to kind of hit more accurately, so then they don't break their hands. Now, you mentioned breaking your hand in their fights. Even with the gloves on, is there maybe like a certain spot on maybe like the body or the face where maybe you should maybe not go full power on, so maybe kind of take care of your hands in the fight, or does it not really matter since with all the adrenaline?
Doesn't really. This is the first time I ever injured, and it was my thumb. I broke my thumb, not my whole hand or wrist, so it's not going to be that long of a recovery. But no, it was weird. Like, in the pros, you don't have the thumb pad on the glove, so I was like coming in with an overhand right, and he like kind of stepped in a little bit, and my knuckle like smacked against the back of his head.
I gotcha.
Instead of my fist. So it wasn't really a bad punch, and it was just a kind of a freak accident thing. Like, wrong place, wrong time, I guess. If you get, I don't know, like if you do the basics of boxing, like every MMA fighter should do, you shouldn't really have a problem.
100%.
You know, I just got a little unlucky in the first freaking round.
Yeah, I guess this is how it goes sometimes. Now, when you were mentioning CFFC has like the bright lights, they also have some really good fighters. How do you like fighting locally there with CFFC?
I love the fact that it's in my backyard. You know, it brings me a lot of. It's easier to sell tickets to a fight to AC than it is anywhere else. You know, but I actually did want to start traveling and going to these other CFFC spots like Tampa, or I think they do one in Mississippi. I'm not sure, and they're talking about doing one somewhere farther. I think it's a good experience to travel and fight in different states. But fighting in AC, literally an hour away from my house, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty nice. Now, why would you want to travel instead of just staying local?
What's that?
Why would you want to travel versus just staying local?
I think it's good. I think it's good experience. You know, when you go to the UFC, you're not fighting in your backyard most likely. You know, unless they get me on the Prudential card or they do another AC card. I'll probably most of my pro career, when I make it to the UFC, is going to be traveling and fighting over there. So getting it done in CFFC and still like in the beginning of my pro career would be a good experience.
Now, on top of that, UFC, you also mentioned that you were a fan and in the crowd at one point. What was maybe the best UFC event that you went to?
Well, the only UFC event I went to was the Sterling Cejudo fight at the Prudential Center. That's the only one I went to. I kind of told myself, I was like, I don't want to go to a UFC event again until I make it to the UFC. Especially like a big one in Vegas. I'm not going to go to Vegas until it's for a UFC fight and I'm fighting in it.
Right. Now I was also at that card. Who do you think won that main event?
I thought Cejudo won.
Yeah. Now talking about that. Go ahead.
I think it was like everybody in the whole crowd thought Cejudo won.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But like, you know, watching it live, you know, everyone, you know, is saying the opposite like on TV. Why do you think like it's maybe different watching it live versus on TV?
I think it's the I don't know, like I feel like you hear the shots, you're witnessing. There's something about witnessing it in person that's so different than witnessing it on TV. You know, because on TV you're not really like, unless it's in that like that small arena where there's no fans, you're not really hearing every exchange and like seeing and hearing the coaches and seeing what these guys are doing. I feel like when you're there's just like an energy that it's like you could kind of pick who's winning the fight, like without a doubt. And I don't even think it was it close? Maybe, but from what I got out of everybody's reactions in the crowd, Cejudo clearly won that fight.
Yeah, no, I just remember everyone was going crazy, just booing nonstop and everything. Yeah, no, that was definitely an interesting card. Now, on top of that, when it comes to like the UFC or anything like that, who do you think is maybe the best UFC fighter or maybe even best training partner you've ever trained with?
From the UFC?
Yes.
That's easy. Carl Roberson. You know, he's not with them anymore, but he's let me tell you something. He is a different animal when it comes to striking. It is rough going in there with him and training with him some days. I'm not even gonna lie. And then Francis Marshall. He's another guy that when he's in Jersey, he goes from Jersey to Coconut Creek, but when he's with us and he's training with us, he gives me really tough rounds, and he's a really very talented fighter.
100%. Now, another thing you mentioned was you mentioned to the promoter, Rob, that you wanted 3 finishes. Are you still looking to try to get those 3 finishes in your next couple fights?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not the type of fighter that's looking for a decision at all. I'm looking for the knockout. It was unfortunate that I smashed my hand in the first round. Because that overhand, I was timing it so well in the beginning. Like, I was landing it at will. But I just couldn't throw it anymore. But, yeah, for sure I'm looking for those finishes, regardless if it's a title fight or another title eliminator fight. Like, I'm looking for the finishes.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get me seen. That's what's going to get me in the UFC.
100%. No, I definitely agree with you there. Now, one question I always like to ask every fighter that I bring on the show is that I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been training for about 20 years now, and I've been teaching for about 6 years now, and I just love what I do. With that being said, I have a lot of guys in my gym, and my question to you is, what advice would you give to those guys to keep coming into the gym and to keep on training and keep on getting better and better every single day?
I would say that be consistent. Be consistent. Strive to be perfect, and you might come up short some days and you might have rough days, but just getting to the gym and staying consistent and staying surrounded with individuals that want to be there as well, and they want to excel as well, and they want to get better, and if you're really trying to separate yourself from all that, you got to put in the extra work. You got to get to the private lessons. You got to wake up early and run. You got to eat healthy when you don't want to. You got to make sacrifices. But I say a lot of the people that have success in MMA is the people that are consistently there every day. You don't have to ask where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is definitely key, 100%. And yeah, that's definitely a good message, and I appreciate that very much. Speaking of messages, Eric, last message out there to the fans that are going to be watching this video.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for having me on the show. And once this is all healed up, I'll be back in no time, and I'm excited. And thank you guys for the support.
Yeah, man. And Eric, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to your next fight. And hopefully you're healing up soon. And thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me.
My man. All right, talk to you later. And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, brother.
My man.